Welcome back to the Run Dusty Run podcast, where runners from all over the world share their stories and running journeys. Along the way, we hope you'll be inspired, encouraged, and that community will be built. Today, we welcome to the podcast a fellow Kansan, CayLee Isern. CayLee, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We are so excited to have CayLee on. Hers is an inspirational story, an overcoming loss through grief, and where that running journey's taken her. And we're excited to have her on today. But as always, CayLee, we have to begin with an icebreaker if you're ready for it.
Okay.
All right, CayLee, you are going for a 10-mile run. What is the one thing, without exception, you must take with you?
Let's see. My AirPods.
AirPods? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that ties directly into the next question. CayLee, since you are a marathoner now,
Yeah.
let's hypothetically pretend that you have to listen. You can only listen to one song and one song only, but you
Oh
must
no.
listen to the same song for the entire marathon. What song are you listening to?
Oh my gosh. That's a tough one. Let's see. Well, now I can't even think of what any of my songs are.
That's all right. That's all right. Okay. How about this? You
Yeah.
are approaching the finish line
Mhm.
of your next marathon,
Okay.
and you could pick any song for them to play as you cross the finish line. What is it? What is CayLee's anthem as she finishes her next marathon?
I keep thinking of I'm a Survivor. That's or
All
like
right.
Destiny's Child.
Yeah. All right. All right. Biggest waste of money in the running world today. What is it?
Ooh. I do think there's a purpose for like all the snacks and the gels and all the things, but I
Uh-huh.
just found other things that I just had around the house, and I thought they worked just
Sure.
as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. And last but not least, you are almost through here. Tell us about your most embarrassing running moment.
I feel like there's so many. I mean, I feel like what mainly sticks out is when you're on like a long run and you just come in contact with some or you see someone from a distance and you're like really
Right.
struggling. I just remember like I'm like, okay, I'm about to like I have to quit. But then you see someone and you're like,
Yeah,
okay, we got to just push through and pretend like we're not struggling.
that's right. That's right. That's right. We gotta at least project success, right? If we can't, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Well, thanks for being a good sport with that. We
Yeah.
appreciate that. Just a chance to get to know you a little better. So, CayLee, I know you are a fellow Kansan, and
hmm
so tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what you do.
Yeah. I'm from a small town in central Kansas, like 2,000 people. I lived in Manhattan, Kansas, and then now I live in Kansas City. And right now I do kind of a lot, jack of all trades. I'm a massage therapist, a hairstylist, and a fitness instructor.
Oh,
Yeah.
and you recently completed your first marathon, correct?
I did, yes.
Tell us all about that.
Well, it's funny because now someone asked me the other day, they're like, "Are you a runner?" And to be honest, I have not hardly ran at all since I completed that marathon. And I was like, I don't know if I'm a runner. And then my friend was with me and they were like, you just completed a marathon. Like, you're a runner.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So it was great though. I mean, I don't know if I would do another marathon, but I'm proud of myself for doing it.
Yeah. So what marathon was it, and what did the training look like, and what did it feel
Yeah.
like to cross that finish line?
It was the Garmin Olathe Marathon, like the Oz, I think the Land of Oz is what it's called.
Mhm.
So that was just here in Olathe, Kansas. I started training, when did it? Like the beginning of November of last year. So I will say I feel like it was a little, I think I had about 20 weeks of training and I
Okay.
feel like I would have done better with a little less training. Like 16
Sure.
weeks would have been better. But yeah, just crossing the finish line was awesome. Like what an accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely. And that course, from what I hear, is no joke, super hilly, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. So on the other side of it now, after having completed that, and being a marathoner, maybe marathon isn't what you're excited about next, but what does your running world look like right now?
Well, right now, like I said, it's a little slim. It's
Mhm.
also, in Kansas, it's getting pretty toasty out there.
Yes,
And I trained through the winter, so this is completely
sure,
different. I will s I would like to stay in shape enough or, in running shape
mhm,
enough to do a half sometime. Nothing on the
sure,
books yet, though.
sure. Nope, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So I want to back up a little bit too, and just from your social media, there was some adversity, and maybe some extra motivation and how you've dealt with grief and loss in that training
Mhm.
process as well. Share with us a little bit about just the power that, or just rather the perseverance and the grit that it took to kind of push through that season of grieving and loss while you're training for a marathon for the first time.
Yeah, well, I always kind of wanted to train for at least a half, but then once I kinda started training, I was like, "Oh, I'm stubborn enough, I can do a half, like, let's shoot for a full." I do think if I were in any other place in my life, I wouldn't have had the dedication to train, but since I had just that extra push, like, I was trying to find an outlet for my grief,
Mhm.
so I feel like this was a really that was a good place to put some of that. So, yeah, I feel like definitely running definitely helped get through some of that, but also there were a lot of days that I did not want to run.
Yeah. Yeah. And so on those days, and as runners, we all have those days. Obviously, not
Mhm,
all of those days are filled with the heaviness and the weight of grief like you had to deal
mhm.
with. But what was it on those days where, man, you just didn't want to get out and do it? Like, what was it that kept you going?
I guess probably, like, if my mom were here, she would have been, like, I think asking me, she'd like, "Did you go on your run today?" And she would have been like, "How far was your run?" So I think just, like, she was always in the back of my mind on those days, and my brother he also trained. He ended up doing the half marathon, but I knew I had to keep up appearances, for
Yeah,
him too.
that's right.
Yeah.
For sure. So, Kaylee, has running always been a part of your life, or was it something that you delved into a little bit later on?
Um, so I did track in high school,
Okay.
and I kinda did all the sport or all the events. And then I didn't really run, no. I did a 10K 4 years ago, and that was the last time I ran. So then I just
Okay.
kinda went full send into a full marathon.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So 20 weeks, right? Is that what we were talking
Mhm,
about for a training plan? So, kind of walk us through, I mean, the progression of that from start of that training block, through those hard, difficult days and eventually to race day and to that finish line. Walk the average person through what that training block looked like, the highs and the lows of it,
mhm.
and, yeah, and how you really grew as a runner throughout that.
Yeah, so, yeah, I kinda tell people I'm like couch to marathon, that's pretty much what I did.
Yeah.
I've been in fitness for a while, so I lift and do Pilates and all the other things, but I just wasn't running. So then I just went out and would just go run however far I could.
Mhm.
So the first few weeks, I think my brother and I were like comparing our Stravas and we were doing like tell me why like the first month we were doing like 6 to 10 miles or something like crazy
Uh-huh.
amounts of miles.
Yeah.
And we're like, why are we running this far? And my heart rate it was like astronomical. So then
Mhm.
after diving in a little bit deeper, I was like, oh, like zone 2 running, and maybe I should actually get on a training plan and not just like go out here and just pretend like
Further
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, further and faster every single time.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I did get like the Runna app,
Mhm.
and I loosely followed it. I would say I would run most of them, but sometimes I would kinda do my own thing too.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but for the most part, I will say by like I said, the last, like, month, I also had a cruise to a week before my marathon, I went on a cruise.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so I will say the last, like, month, I just was like, "Alright, let's just get this over with."
Mm.
Like, I'm ready to just run.
Yeah. So that's actually that's an interesting, it's an interesting topic. In fact, my family and I just got back from kind of a tiny little midweek getaway this past weekend.
Mhm,
And again, it can definitely complicate a running plan. So it's interesting, and I think this is something, especially this time of year, people who are training for fall races will run
mhm.
into with vacations and trips and just all the things. What was your attitude? I mean, how did you approach? I mean, my goodness, a cruise the week before a race. What was your mindset, and how did you get through that to make sure you still got some miles in, or what was your approach?
Yeah, so I actually, like I went with my dad on this cruise, so it was really fun, but,
Mhm.
of course, I, like, forgot I was like, "There's a marathon in here and this cruise." I was like, "Oh my gosh, my luck, they're probably, like, the same day."
Yeah,
Thankfully, they were not, but also thankfully, it was, like, my taper week anyway.
sure, sure.
Yeah, so I just made sure first thing in the morning, I went out and got at least I think I ran 3 of the 5 days, so that's pretty
Okay,
good. And the cruise had a really nice gym, and then they had a track that ran around the ship.
okay.
So I just made sure I got that done first thing in the morning, or I would not have got it done. Yeah, I feel like that was kind of best case scenario if it was gonna be a week. At least it was, like, my taper week.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So along your way, I mean,
Mhm,
along the way in your training journey, I know you said your brother was a big help to you in that training
mhm.
process. Who were some of the inspirations to you along the way as you trained for that marathon, and even, on the other side of it? Because you are now forever, Kaylee, a marathoner.
Yeah, which is it sounds so crazy because it feels like a fever dream, but
Yeah.
yeah, definitely my brother for sure, because he's the one who even got me to do
Mhm.
it. And then just like my family, I feel like I'm also one of those people, I just told everyone that I was training for a marathon or else I knew myself I wouldn't do it. Yeah. So I was like, nope, if the more people I tell, I gotta post about it. I was like
That's
one of those
right.
I was like, it's my whole personality now. Yeah, and then tons of Instagram obviously can be like good and
Mm,
bad,
right.
especially for running into today's
Yes.
world too. But there were quite a few good accounts I found. But yeah, I feel like mainly like my family was like my biggest supporters and inspiration in the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with, with what you dealt with. And then again, as you say, if you let enough people know, then there's that pressure like, well,
Mhm.
I've already told everybody, so now I've got to go through with this.
Yeah.
So what were some of the lessons along the way that running has taught you, both in that training block and maybe in the running you've done outside of that as well?
Yeah. I mean, I think personally, I think running is like one of it's like a free sport. Then once you start, it's actually not free, but I will
True.
say it's the easiest thing to just like get up and do, but
Yeah.
it's like I think it takes so much more like dedication
Hmm.
than anything else. Like if I sign up for like a workout class and I don't go, I get charged. Like
Hmm.
nobody's really tracking my running. That was all on me and to make sure like I did that for myself. I showed up for myself every day. Yeah. I feel like and that kind of just goes along with everything else in life too. Just showing up and doing what you say you're going to do, following through. And we don't do enough hard things as adults. That's what I've realized as
Yes.
well. Yeah.
Yes. That is such a great point. Well, speaking of that, it looks
Mhm.
like you have started a new business. Is that correct?
So I just started a new job.
Started a new job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Yeah.
how do you balance all of that? Because though maybe running's taking a back seat, it looks like fitness is still very high on your priority
Yeah.
list. So, how have you balanced the new job and keeping up with the demands of fitness and the training and all of it? How do you keep all of that balanced?
Uh, well, if you, like, know me, the people that know me are like, "I literally have no idea how you track your life." Like, I have, like, 4 jobs at all times, and then I'm always training for something or doing something fitness-wise, but yeah, I have a huge calendar that has everything color coded, but I just make sure fitness is that's probably my top priority. Like, I always make sure
Sure.
I get a workout in, and then, as I start training for something else, then something, I'll just
Mhm.
kinda drop. Maybe my weightlifting will go down, and then I'll start training for something else, so,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's an interesting perspective, and I think it's very important for our listening audience to know that just because you're not currently in a training block for a marathon or half
Mhm,
marathon or 10K or whatever, um, that you're still a runner,
mhm,
and not everyone is going to be in a block or a training cycle every single day of their life, and
mhm.
so as fitness remains a priority to you, what would you say, like, if you could do anything in the fitness world, like, right now, Kaylee, in your life right now, like, what is your favorite physical fitness activity to do?
I would say right now, like, weightlifting is, like,
Mhm.
my love. That's just I was missing that when I was running because I was still prioritizing, it was just different.
Sure.
So now that's my thing. I will say it is hard to not be training for something though.
Yeah.
Once you have that goal, you're like, "Okay, what's next? Like, what can I do?"
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right, and that's a very, very challenging feeling to work through,
Mhm.
for sure.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit. Let's just say you were to get back. If you could pick any marathon to come back to train for, and time, money, none of the exterior factors were a factor, what's the one marathon you would say, I would love to train for that and I would love to finish that
Ooh.
race?
That's a tough one. There's so many big ones. I definitely think, like, the Hawaii one is, like, top of my list. I just think it's so beautiful. I do think that's what a few things I feel like I was missing in the marathon here was obviously the
Mhm.
views,
Mhm.
not as it was kinda just through, like, neighborhoods and stuff, and then the crowd support. So I guess,
Mhm.
that's what I said, if I were to ever do, like, another one, I would love to do one that has more crowd support and more, like, scenic views. Yeah.
Sure, sure. There
Mhm.
is I had the chance actually to participate in the Pittsburgh Marathon not all that long ago, and, there've just been so many, and again, of all different shapes and sizes, but there
Mhm.
really is something super powerful. In fact, I was just having this conversation with my oldest daughter yesterday, about a marathon where there is crowd support from,
Mhm.
like, start to finish. I mean, I haven't ran Boston or any of the world majors or anything,
Mhm.
but just in some of those bigger cities where there's crowd support from start to
Yeah.
finish, and, like, I'd be curious to know, like, what the science says that the time differential is, because there's just something about positive reinforcement that's so cool.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Kaylee, tell us a little bit about, you do have a social media presence on Instagram, I know, follow you there. Or if so, how has the running community been supportive and encouraging of you both online and in person?
Yeah. So I guess I also didn't realize Kansas City has such a big running community until I started
Right.
running, and everyone is so nice. There are so many run clubs here. That
Mhm.
was a big part of my training was going to run clubs as well. Well, that took me a while because I was too scared to go for
Sure,
probably
sure.
like 6 months, but
Uh-huh.
I've made a lot of really, really good friends, through the running communities here and then just, like, online. Even people that don't run per se, me
Mhm.
just sharing my journey, I feel like inspired a lot of people, which
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting. I mean, I was just posting kind of for
Mhm.
myself and also, to make sure
Sure.
I did it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I had so much support overall. It was great.
Awesome. So obviously, it things have been difficult in dealing and grieving with loss. So what was the family support like? I know you said your brother
Mhm,
was a huge supporter and motivator
mhm.
for you there. Tell us a little bit about how your family played a role in that and just encouraged you along the way.
Yeah, so, I mean, from the beginning, my brother texted me probably in October and was like, "Do you wanna do a marathon in 2026?"
Mm,
And at first I was like, "I've been thinking about doing a half, I'll commit to a half, but
mhm.
no way I'm gonna do a full." So then,
Yeah,
like I said, I started training and I was like, "Okay, let's just do it."
yeah.
But it was fun. He lives in Manhattan, so, we
Okay.
didn't get to train together, unfortunately, but I feel like just brought us closer together because we were
Yeah.
constantly checking in, sending silly
Mhm.
reels to each other or, "Hey, I
Yeah.
tried this. What do you think about that?" So that brought us closer together, and then no one else in my family they weren't going to run the marathon, but they were all super supportive. They made sure they free that day. They all came out to watch us run. They made signs. They they made sure they were at certain miles, and then they waited at the finish line for me to finish, and that was long after my brother finished his half marathon.
Sure.
So, yeah, it was really great. They were so supportive the whole time, even though they weren't in that world, they were
Mhm.
very supportive. Yeah.
They made a point to be for you. Very
Mhm.
cool. And
Mhm.
not to mention, just I think I'll run my first marathon in probably one of the most challenging courses in the United States in Kansas City with all those hills. My goodness. Well, Kaylee, what from it doesn't even have to be running wise, really. From
Mhm.
a physical fitness standpoint, like what what's next?
Ooh, I would say probably, like, my next competitive thing will be a half, or
Okay.
I've toyed with a high rocks. I don't know.
Oh, there
So,
it is. That
yeah,
seems to creep in everywhere now.
I know. So, who knows, there might be some other random thing that pops up before that, but right now, I'm just trying to, like, get in, the best shape I can.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, slowly start to bring running back in because I do think there is something to be said. I did watch a reel about this as well. After your marathon and you just like stop doing it,
Yeah.
I think it's almost like I'm scared almost because I'm like, oh, I
Mhm.
don't have something to train for. Like, what if I'm not
Right.
good anymore? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a very real thing and
Yeah.
talk to a lot of people far smarter than I am who have just instilled this idea of always trying to make sure you have the next thing coming up.
Mhm.
And that's great. And I think there's a lot of merit to that and it's helped me, but I also think there's something to be said for just kind of a rest and reset because
Mhm.
as you know, I think many people are unaware of just the toll that a training block for a marathon takes. I mean,
Mhm.
it really can be consuming. It really sometimes on the days you don't want to feels like a part-time or even semi full-time job
It
to
does.
get those miles in every week. And so and then we realize how crazy it sounds to the world around us where it's like, well, how long's your run today? Well, it's only 6 today. And they're like, only 6 miles. But then you can think
Mhm.
back to just a few months ago and how crazy that sounded to you even.
Mhm.
So yeah, it really does take a toll. And I think there's something to be said for rest as well.
Mhm.
So what then? You got some ideas of maybe what's up next. What is it from a and maybe you've kind of already answered the question from a running perspective. What excites you? Seems like maybe there might be some hope of getting back into it here before long.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely, I think getting back into it and maybe just, finding, like, joy in it again,
Yeah.
because I do feel like, especially not running and then going to training for something, I did lose a lot of the
Mhm.
fun parts of it because I was just
Yeah,
constantly like, "I have to run this many miles. This is part of my training block." Yeah, so I think just going out and running for fun and not worrying about pace or time or anything like that.
for sure. For sure. We have a lot of people who listen or watch the podcast who maybe the thought of running a marathon absolutely terrifies them.
Mhm.
There's a We have a local 5K, in fact, tomorrow morning, and I know there are some people who, for the very first time, will participate in a 5K.
Mhm.
And a lot of people are often overwhelmed and scared and nervous about, "Oh,
Mhm.
gosh, I see these people running marathons. I can't even run 1 mile." The reality is, I think you and I both know we've all been there before. What encouragement or piece of advice would you give to those folks?
Well, I mean, will say literally if I could do it, I feel like anyone could. It You just have to, like, take that first step, honestly, and just make it a priority. I feel like that's the biggest thing is, like, make it your priority, your eating habits, your sleep, all those things have to come into play, but just going out and starting, honestly, you can walk and run. You don't have to just go out and run. A lot of people run a full marathon. They walk and run. I walked in my marathon too.
Mm.
I think, yeah, just going out and getting started and trying, and then the time kinda just flies by because yeah, that time 20 weeks went by really fast, and then next thing you know, we're at the finish line,
Yeah.
so mhm.
Yeah, so what did that I just wanna go back to this again because I know that feeling, and to those who have done it, it's just it's almost an indescribable feeling, but
Mhm.
as I pulled up your picture on Instagram of you finishing that race with your medal up in the air, tell us what that feeling was like as you know, were what was going through your mind as you were, 100 yards out, like, you could
Mhm.
see it, you were so close, but it felt like it was still so far away to the time you cross it. Tell our listening audience, like, what that feeling is like the best way you can.
Well, also just that marathon, we ended on a hill, so that was really
Of
fun of them.
course.
So, I feel like I kinda just zoned out. I had some hamstring issues, probably like mile 20 on. So I was like, I just have to finish this at this point. So the
Mhm,
last, yeah, probably 100 meters, I started running again, because I was kind of power walking. So I started
mhm.
running and I was getting there. I kind of blacked out because I thought my whole family had left. Like
Oh,
I was looking and I couldn't see
oh,
anyone. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I did take longer than I thought I was going to. So I was like, maybe they
mm,
just like had to leave. They were hungry.
help.
And then I look over and it's like literally there's like 10 to 15 people like they're cheering for me. And then that like gave me the last little push I needed to get through. And then I feel like that last little bit, I was just blacked out. As soon as I
Yeah,
crossed the line too, I was like, I don't know what just happened.
yeah,
It's so I said I would do one of 2 things. I was like, I'm either gonna, like, sob or I'm
mhm.
gonna just be like, whatever, like, stone face, and that's
Yeah,
pretty much it. I was like, "Alright." I was like, I was like, "That was cool, but I don't wanna do that again."
yeah, nothing to see here, I just ran a marathon, get out
Yeah.
of my way, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're just like you're hungry, you're tired, you're thirsty.
Yes, all of the above, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Kaylee, thanks so much.
Yeah.
I know this, and I hope this is okay to say this, but I want you to
Mhm.
know your mom would be proud. So,
Thank you.
great job, keep up the good work. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing
Mhm.
your story, especially as a fellow Kansan. We don't have a lot of
Yes.
those on here, so
Yes.
appreciate your willingness to come on and join us, and, wishing you all the best in your future endeavors, whatever race that might be, or high
Mhm.
rocks, or wherever you feel led to participate. Again, want to thank you so much for joining the show today.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. Well, this has been CayLee Isern on the Run Dusty Run podcast, where, as always, we continue to encourage you to keep showing up and keep going.